What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Monkey Cave. So I know that it's been a while since I posted a video. I do still have the Ford Falcon over there, and we've been working on it, but there's been some delays, so that's one of the reasons I haven't posted much. So I figure it's been a long time since I've shared with you my personal C10 build. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over some of the things I've done in like the last year and a half since the first video, and then what I'm working on now. I'm like just a couple of weeks away from being able to fire up this motor, so it's getting pretty exciting, considering most of those parts I've been building for about the last 13 years, right? I've been at it a long time, and this truck has never been finished. I've built plenty of trucks for other people, but this one is mine, and it's special. Imagine how much your life changes in that amount of time. Over a decade, so all kinds of things have gone on in life, yet here I am still trying to achieve the same old goal. So, you know, I've been building this truck a really long time. I shared that in the very first video on this truck, like a year and some change ago. The bladder and the fuel cell got so old that it was rotten. It was obviously rotten, which means there's no way I could have put fuel in it. It would have just leaked. So I don't really have a lot of money to have a new bladder made, so I just welded up the tank to turn it into a fuel tank instead of a fuel cell. I don't plan on racing this truck, so that is what it is. Maybe someday I can change that and put a fuel cell in it if I need to. I got plenty of room back here. I already had a factory early fuel pump and assembly from my old Chevy Silverado, so I just fit that to the tank. I did all new fuel lines all the way to the front. In the trunk back here, I put some release pins. And then this thing is spring loaded. Pretty cool, right? So I have a trunk. I have some replacement pins that are the push-pull style, like spring loaded. Those are going to be pretty cool when I'm done. So the back of the truck is pretty well finished. I got right here some bedside mounts. They're only on one side because it's pretty small in this garage and I don't want it taking up too much room. But I'll show you a picture right here what the truck looks like with the bedsides on it. I'm pretty stoked on that, right? So the interior of this truck is pretty much done as well. This is all mounted, obviously. Dash has been mounted, just temporary for now, and then I'll fully fixturize it. The seats are mounted. They're not bolted in right now, so I don't sit in them. So I still have access in here to get to the transmission tunnel and all that while I'm doing the final finishing touches and all this stuff. Shifter hooked up, so all of this works. So we are getting close with this truck, and you know, that part is kind of exciting because I've been at this truck for like 13 years. As far as some of the parts go, they are really old and they were never finished on the original truck. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll be turning a key or pushing a button and making this truck start. All right, you guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to cover the cooling system for my 66 C10. We're just using cheap, inexpensive silicone elbows. This truck is still pretty budget friendly, considering the level that it's built to. So silicone hoses, these can be found on Amazon, eBay, all those places. or you can buy the really expensive ones, but so far I haven't had any problem using the less expensive ones. In the old days, you only had like a couple of vendors. Nowadays, they're all over the place, so the prices have gone way down, making this stuff easier to use. All right, and then what I do is I just buy aluminum in the raw. All right, this is an aluminum tube. It's 1.5-inch tube, and so what it does is the aluminum tubing is hydroformed. It's got a label on it, right? And this label actually tells you about the material. This is hydroformed 6061 T6 aluminum. Now, the most important piece of information on there is that T6. Okay, and so what T6 is I've covered that in my aluminum welding video that's on the channel. All right, but T6 is the heat treat that they have performed on this aluminum. So you have all the way up to 6 levels, right? T6 is the highest level of heat treat for aluminum. But the problem is if you need to roll this aluminum, bead roll it, or manipulate it in any way, it will basically crack or break anywhere because it's in its strongest form. So usually you need to anneal the aluminum in the areas that you're going to manipulate or roll or whatever you're going to do. So I'm going to show you a little trick with that, and yeah, come on, let's get in. All right, you guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to anneal this piece of tubing right here. I got to give credit where credit is due. A few months ago, I did this on a hot rod, and I went to my buddy Danny Giannini's shop and used his bead roller because I hadn't purchased my own yet. I got my own. This is an Amazon special, not as nice as the one he has from Mike Furyk, but maybe someday I can afford that. But for now, I got what I got, but I've already used this thing. It works bitchin'. So, trick to bead rolling aluminum. All right, Sharpie, or I use the Milwaukee pins. All right, but you're just going to draw a line around. Nothing special. It doesn't need to be made perfectly straight or any of that. You're just highlighting it, and then you're going to take your torch. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to put a glove on my right hand, just so I don't grab this hot tube and burn myself. All right, and then what you do is you heat up this tube until that Sharpie line starts to disappear. When it disappears, you have annealed the material. So check it out. Maybe I can do it on the front side right here, and then you'll start to see it disappear. You already saw some moisture leave it, all right? And then you'll see that it starts to fade out the Sharpie. Oh, let me not burn my case over here. All right. See that Sharpie line start to disappear. So don't try to put the whole thing in one shot. All right. Yeah, you can already feel this tube is pretty hot. So I'll probably just do like one at a time. All right, you guys, so what I found with the first couple of these is the bead roller here was actually struggling with a couple of them, even though it's pretty thin-walled tubing. So I thought to myself, like, why not throw a little bit of lube on there? And I'll tell you what, night and day difference, right? So I learned something while I was trying to share and teach with you guys. You know, I just happened to have a whole bunch of this WD-40 gel laying around, so I shot a little bit on the dies, and man, all of a sudden, this thing started bead rolling them real nice. So moving forward, aluminum lubrication. It's one of the big tricks with aluminum anyways. I should have known that.